Hello, everyone. Dr. Lee here with your encouraging word. Listen, you're joining me with this devotional series, Still Here, God's Faithfulness and an Unfinished Story. Today's devotional, I've titled Still Here, Carrying What We Didn't Cause. And our guiding faith or truth for this series, and I've said it in every one, our survival is not proof that evil was right, but proof that God is still faithful, even in a world cursed by sin. And so today, let me begin with this simple picture. Imagine inheriting a house that you didn't build, but it needed repairs you didn't cause. We've done that before. The roof leaks, the foundation, you discover it's cracked. And while you did design it this way, you're living in it now. That's how many people feel or experience life in this world, carrying conditions, challenges, and consequences they didn't choose, yet still have to navigate faithfully. And I want you to listen to the words of Lamentations, chapter 5 and verse 7. The verse says, "Our fathers sinned and are no more, but we bear their iniquities." You know, and that verse is not about assigning blame. It's about acknowledging burden. It names the reality of living with the consequences of a broken world. For some, that looks like growing up in under-resourced neighborhoods. For others, it's unequal access to education, healthcare, and opportunity. That's our ancestors' struggle, and that's still the struggle today. For many, it's inherited poverty, community violence, social instability, or having to work twice as hard to get half as far. And I need you to understand that the Bible does not deny that reality. It doesn't minimize injustice, and it does not excuse wrong by calling it God's will, as some try to do. Listen, evil is still evil, broken systems are still broken, and God's faithfulness does not mean what happened or what's happening is right. But here's the hope. We are still here, not because the world has been fair, but because God has been faithful. And when you talk about Lamentations, it's written from the ruins. Yet the people are still praying, they're still trusting, they're still reaching toward God. And that tells us something powerful today, and that is that God can sustain his people even when life is uneven and unjust. And so how do we respond to the injustices of the day? Listen, we tell the truth clearly and courageously, refusing both silence and hate. We pursue justice actively without surrendering compassion or Christ-like character. How do we deal with this today? We reject bitterness as a way of life and choose faithfulness as a daily discipline. And we live righteously and responsibly even when systems fall short of God's design. And when the burden feels heavy, I need you to remember this, that Jesus carried even what he didn't cause. He bore sin he never committed so that he could carry people who were wounded by sin they didn't choose. That's our hope. That's the unfinished story. That God is not done, and a day is coming when Christ will make all things new. And until then, family, we stay faithful, we stay hopeful, and we trust the God who has kept us still here. And so our prayer today is, Lord, give us courage to tell the truth. Strengthen the pursuit of justice with compassion and grace to remain faithful even in a broken world. And my prayer is that God keeps us anchored until Jesus comes to make all things new. That's our prayer today. I pray that you're blessed. God bless.